Hi there, Lightwatersnake here. So I've been having a lot of questions about how I'm making my temperature blanket. So what I've done is I've let myself get a couple of days behind so I can make a video and show you all how it's done. Let's start off with the yarns I'm using. So I've taken 2-degree increments in temperature and I've assigned a different colour to each one. And I've got here a nice big bag of yarn, all nice looking in there, and all it is hobby rainbow cotton 8x8. See that? It's really nice and soft, surprisingly, even though it's cotton. The stitch I'm using is Tunisian simple stitch. I've always liked the way it looks, and I thought, how about using 2 different colours to make a row? So on my forward pass, I'm using the maximum temperature of the day, and on my return pass, I'm using the minimum temperature of the day. I've cast on 70 stitches, and clearly that's not very wide for a blanket. So I'm going to get halfway through the year, I'm going to cast off, start again, and then I'll sew the 2 sides of the year together to make a nice wider blanket. It still won't be massive, but it'll be a nice sort of lap quilt, I think. A throw, perhaps. Anyway, so let's get to it. I've got my Tunisian crochet hook. This one is 6.5mm and it's incredibly long, with this cable and a little wooden bead on the end. And now I need to look at the temperature for the 16th of April. You can see from where I've already started, this is January, and I've put a little marker for the end of January, and then February, a little marker for the end of February, and a marker for the end of March. I'm halfway through April now. Okay, so keep my stitches on a little safety pin here when it's not in use. I just have to put those back on my hook. This is just so it doesn't unravel while I'm not working on it. Okay. So when I get to the end of a row, I always leave the last 2 stitches. This makes the colour transition look smoother. So for the 16th of April, the maximum temperature was 19.6 degrees. So if we look here, that translates to this colour here. I'll just find that in my little bag, match it up, that's that one. So I just pick up the end of my yarn, wrap it around the hook and just hold it on the back. I don't need to tie it off yet or anything, just hold on to it like that. So see, I've just got my finger over the other end of the yarn, wrapped it around the hook, and pull the hook through the last remaining stitches like this. Okay, so that's started my row, got my loose end here, and insert my hook into the bars from the previous row to create the Tunisian simple stitch. So just behind the bar, loop around, put it through. carry on all the way across, and when I get to the end I'm going to change my colour to the minimum temperature for the day for the return pass. I've really enjoyed making this. It's a very simple stitch and it's not too much to do if I want to keep up with it every day. I've actually become quite impatient for the end of the day to be able to check the temperatures. I've had the website NW3 Weather, because that's my nearest weather station, and I keep up with my weather reports from there. And it's actually made me really interested in how the temperature changes throughout the year, and how this year differs from last year, and stuff like that, which I never thought I'd be particularly interested in. You'll notice along the edges I've got all of these tails where I've cut and changed the yarn. I'm not sure whether I'm going to leave them there or not. They look quite nice at the moment, but I'm also considering doing a border that would enclose them. So it really just probably depends how much yarn I've got left at the end of this. I've already had to reorder some of my colours because they were a lot more common than expected, so you'll notice there's quite a lot of the darker green and the mid green. I've had to rebuy those colours. Here we go, last few stitches of the row. 1, 2. Okay, so when you get to the end here, it looks a bit messy. I've just got to put my yarn under this loose looking bit from the last row. This is purely because I haven't tied the cut yarns off. And I've got a bit loose here, I'm just going to pull it tight again. There we go. So just do that. And yeah, this will be tied off. I'll show you that in a minute. But it's easier to get the needle through before you tie it off. Okay, so I can now cut this because that's done with. Scissors are a bit blunt. Probably get some new ones. Right. We've got 4.7 degrees for the minimum temperature of the 16th of April, which is this one. This is a sort of greyish blue, I think. I'm running out. Okay, it's not that one. It's this one. See, not much left of that. Might have to get some more. Okay. So, take this, same as before, hold on to the previous row cut off, hold on to the new yarn, wrap it round, and just pull that last stitch over the hook, and this begins your return pass. Okay. So, yarn over, pull through 2, 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 we're just going to carry on right to the end and just leave those last 2 stitches on the hook. And I can show you now how to tie off these ends. So I go from the back and I find 2 yarns that go together, so these 2. Tie them nice and tight, but not too tight because you don't want to ruche it all up. Just two knots like that. And then I've got these 2. Tie it twice. It's a few days where I haven't tied them off. I should really do it every day. Okay, these 2. Now theoretically, I could leave these as edge tassels because they're not going anywhere after being tied off. And they do look quite nice. I'm going to experiment with the border anyway, and I'll see how that goes. But I've got a long time to think about that. Okay, so that's that row, and then I'll just leave this last one, which is the one I've just added, to tie off later. Okay, so carrying on. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and here we go. Just push these up, make it easier. Okay. When I get to the other side, I'll tie those off as well. And this is a nice thing about Tunisian crochet. You don't need to worry about it all unravelling when you're not working on it, because essentially it's already cast off. As long as you don't stop halfway through a row where you've done the forward pass and not the return pass, in which case you're going to leave all the stitches on the needle. And this makes it really portable, and you don't need to worry about finishing it whenever. There's no rush. And of course, having those 2 passes on one row makes it a real nice, thick, squidgy, soft fabric. I'm sure this is going to make a wonderful blanket. Two. Okay, so we've got 2 stitches. We're going to keep those there, because if I do this and cast off the last stitch, when I put my new yarn on, I'll still have this loop on the next row. I really want to keep it so the whole row is the same colour. So I just stop before that final stitch. Okay, so I just pull those out. Ooh. Put my little safety pin / stitch marker on there. Cut the working yarn. Tuck those away. Okay. So there it is. I've just done this one row. And I can show you how I tie off these last ones. These are a little trickier, simply because it's easier to pull them too tight. So I just make sure I'm being a bit gentle. And do the same time twice. Tie it twice. I'm not going to tie this one yet because this is still on the safety pin, so I don't want to tie that too tight so I can't put the hook back through. Okay, so I've got one more row to do. Alright then. 17th of April, maximum temperature 14.2, which is this colour. Hold it tight, yarn over hook, through both loops, and then through bar on previous row. Just going to pull these tight. Looks a bit of a mess at the moment. That one and that one. Okay, minimum temperature 7.6 degrees. This colour. It's a very popular colour. Forgot to mention my maximum temperature. The colour, it just says above 32 degrees. It's not very often that we have a temperature that goes above 32 degrees. So I probably won't be using that one much. And my minimum temperature says below -2 degrees, which could happen. But so far my minimum temperature has just been the one before that. So minus 0.1 to minus 2. And that was way back in February, I think, last time that happened. It's been quite nice and warm, really, compared to back when I lived in Cardiff where it was cold all the time. And there we go. Second row done, and that's me caught up for now. We'll see what today brings us. Essentially that's all I've been doing. Obviously the cast on was slightly different, but if you check out any Tunisian tutorial, all you do is a row of slip stitches and pick them up as if you were doing a forward pass, and that's your cast on for Tunisian. So there you go. Any more questions? Just let me know. Thank you.